How many Labour MPs do you think will support Brexit?
I want to bet. I said that would be your first question, Andrew.
There you go. I usually bet that politicians won't answer it.
Well, we're in a minority. We are in a minority within the PLP.
I do know that.
What we have discovered just from the very short time that we've been going, although we officially launched today, is that we have huge support out there amongst Labour Party members at the grassroots and Labour supporters, more importantly.
So
but the reality is...
Let me come back to my question.
OK, but Andrew,
but
it's very important,
Labour
Andrew,
MPs?
This referendum will not be won to leave the EU by MPs, 650.
I understand that, but please indulge, since you correctly guessed my question. It means you've had plenty of time to think about the answer.
I will tell you.
Roughly how many?
Roughly, we will have the same number as we had who voted and supported a referendum when the Labour leadership didn't want it.
How many?
And those who, around about 25, 30.
All right, 25,
That is irrelevant, really, because the campaign will be won in the country by ordinary members of the British public who've got the chance.
That bit I understand about referenda, that it's not just MPs that get to vote.
And it's very important.
Even I understand that. You must be very pleased that John Mills, Labour's, I think your party's biggest private donor, wants Jeremy Corbyn to allow a free vote on the European referendum. Do you think you'll get one?
Oh, of course we get a free vote. I mean, the Conservatives have given a free vote. The idea that Labour would not allow a free vote on an issue like this would be just nonsense.
Is that right?
John Mills, can I just say about John Mills? John Mills led the campaign in 1975 to leave the common market. He's been a long-standing supporter of
But you think you get a free vote? Will there be a free vote?
Absolutely.
Well, I hope not. I'm committed to us staying in Europe. I think that's for the benefit of British workers.
Why not have a free vote?
And therefore, I hope that we decide as a party, and I'm pretty confident we will, that our position is clear on it, and therefore we have a whip vote.
Why? Why, when the Conservatives with
because
in
I'm very
government
clear.
Can't even... Yes, but why are you going
because
to whip MPs who know that their constituents and that the vast majority, we know now, of Labour supporters, many of whom, of course, who went and voted for UKIP precisely because of this issue, and we want to win them back. Our party and Jeremy Corbyn's leadership is about reconnecting with voters to the idea that, first of all, we didn't want a referendum, then as soon as we're back in opposition, we agree to a referendum 2 days later. Now that we would say we would have a whipped vote is just democracy out the window.
Let Owen Smith respond.
The reason the Tories are having a free vote is because they couldn't possibly whip their party, because they are completely riven at the centre on this issue. The Labour Party is not, as you've just admitted, Kate. We've got a handful, less than 10% of our PLP, who are of your opinion.
At the moment.
And therefore, we are in the luxurious position of knowing what our party political position is, and we are therefore able to have a position, as we had at the last election and the one before that and the one before that.
Interesting,
so it's the mandate I stood on and you stood on. We are a pro-European party.
I had in my election address that I supported a referendum and I wanted to see a fundamental change in our relationship.
But you stood on a Labour ticket.
And what I would say is Jeremy Corbyn, our leader, I know is perfectly relaxed about a Labour Leave campaign. In fact, he and John McDonnell spent most of their time during the last 10 years in the same lobby as those of us.
Well, he voted to leave in 1975.
I'm relaxed about it too, and I'm relaxed about us making the case, but I still think that we've got a very clear position in the party.
Can I just clarify this, Owen Smith? The government position is that there will be a government policy, almost certainly, in favour of staying in and to vote to remain. But that those cabinet ministers who don't agree with that can go their own way for the duration of the referendum. Will shadow cabinet members be allowed to do that if they don't agree with the party line?
Well, I'm not in charge of that, am I, Andrew? That would be a matter for the leadership of the Labour Party. Well, my view is that we should have a whipped vote. My view is we've got a settled Labour Party policy, which is that we are pro-European, and therefore I think we should have a clear position, unlike the Conservatives.
So shadow ministers should not, if they disagree with the party line, should not be allowed to go their own way.
That's my view. My view is that we should have a clear position. We are pro-European, and therefore we should have collective responsibility and stick together and vote for Europe.
So we're going to have a kind of stitch-up between the establishment in Labour and the establishment in the Conservatives. Unfortunately, it's going to be the public who decide, and the last thing they want at the moment is these stitch-ups between politicians cosy at Westminster. Out in the country, the mood is very, very different.
Kate, you were right a moment ago when you said it will be people in the country who decide in the referendum. You're, of course, self-evidently right about that. But it is our job, I think, to provide leadership. Now, you are trying to provide leadership, making the case for our leaving Europe. I'm being clear. The Labour Party, that you're a member of, in the minority on this issue, is going to make a case and offer leadership to the country and say we should stay for the benefit of British people.
And we are finding that across the country now, parliamentary parties, Labour parties, are wanting to have that debate. They're inviting
And they
people
will
from
have
Labour,
it.
and we need to have
Mine
that
will have
debate.
it, your will have it.
And we have never had that debate in the party since the end of the Neil Kinnock era.
But
Is
we
it
have-
your
we have
view
it
that-
now, and that's
What's
good.
your view on the? I mean, as I understand it, you've had 200,000 new members since Mr. Corbyn became leader. Not since you lost the election. You had a lot after that. 200,000 since he became leader. Are there any indications of what their attitudes are to Europe?
Well, you might say, I would say it, but we are finding genuinely that new people who are coming in have a very different attitude to this idea that the EU is all about workers' rights, and so social Europe is finished. The EU project is on its way out.
When are you
that's not my
When are you
experience,
game
Kate.
planning? What are you game planning for
At all.
for the timing of the referendum?
Well, we are still game planning for a July, but I think it's more likely to be September.
You
The Prime Minister wants his little piece of white paper con to be kind of put
Okay.
through as quickly as possible.
So you think
June.
September rather
Yeah.
than end June?
I think
No,
June
I
is
don't
it.
think it
When do you think it'll be?
June, it'll be too
wait
near
to
the
see.
end.
I thought you would
A bit
say
like
that.
the budget.
All right,
Yeah.
okay, Hoey,
I'll give you the date of the
we'll see a lot of you between now and then.
I hope so.
Thank you.
Any shadow cabinet members you know who might come over to your side?
One or two.
Which ones?
Oh, I don't think this is the
Not me.
right place to tell it. Not
You didn't frankly have the balls to put country before party.